Sup, bitches, and welcome to the Sassy Spiritual Bitches podcast.
Welcome.
What is up? What is up, SSB crew, posse, tribe,
Yeah.
etc.
How are you guys legit doing? Because it is the Hot Mess Express out there.
Seriously, we need to come up with merch that says Hot Mess Express. That's how my whole 2022 has been so far.
You know, I had a smooth entry. Well, no, it's been the hot mess. Who the fuck am I kidding? It's been a hot mess too. I was just delusional about it until now.
It's okay. It's okay. I thought it was gonna, you know what? I got cocky, and then Spirit was like, this is a bit too easy for you. Let's throw curveball after curveball after curveball. Take that, bitch. And it's like, ugh, fine. I guess I have to actually deal with shit.
Yes. And the biggest thing that came in a couple of days ago, so this might help everyone who's struggling right now. So I think I mentioned this last time, but this year is really about responsibility and taking responsibility for the life that we want to create. It's like dream big, but with great power comes great responsibility. So to be able to manifest those big, beautiful dreams that we've been planning, we have to show up and be responsible. And I knew that was coming. But just recently, a friend of mine helped me deconstruct the word responsibility. And they're like, it's your ability to respond to scenarios. And fuck, have I ever been getting scenario after scenario after fucking scenario to respond to. And it has not been easy. It's like you try something and then it falls through and fails. Then you have to call again or backtrack. And you're like, fuck, this is irritating.
Exactly. Irritating. That's a perfect word.
Yeah. And way harder than it feels like it has to be right now.
Yes. And I feel like it's so simple, but it feels just so heavy and like, when is it ever going to end? Even though I know that's not the case, but it feels like the end of the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are also in a master builder year, like triple twos or just 2 twos, is like the masterful builder. So that's the person that has to fucking lay shit down brick by boring brick with really just truck away at it. But if you really show up and you do it by the end of the year, you're just like, shit, I'm in a fucking kingdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just buckle up. I don't expect at any point in 2022 will things be easy.
No. But you know what? It's this weird, I don't know. I'm walking this weird line. Like the first part was really, really daunting. And now that we're getting kind of into the second and I don't know if it's just starting to get used to it or, I'm feeling like, okay. Let's look at this constructively, and it's kind of like, how can I shift things and move things around so it gets to where I need it to be in order to keep trucking. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like I've stepped out of myself and it's almost like you can see your life as blocks. And it's like, oh, this fits over here and this moves over here. We have to go up here. And then this goes sideways and this goes backwards and we need to flip it around. Yeah. It's just literally reconstructing what you already have in a different, what's the right word? Foundation?
That makes sense. And when you showed me that visual, it kind of was like, so I don't know if let me know if this applies to you. I'd actually be curious. When I'm struggling through something, I have this tendency to look really far in the future and get overwhelmed by how many blocks there are between A and fucking Z. And then what I've had to do is be like, you just have to get through one day. What do you have to do right fucking now to get through what's facing you? Because if you just look at the consecutive steps ahead of you and catastrophize, it's overwhelming. And of course you want to just crawl into bed and not respond to anything and become avoidant. But if you just take it, what can I do today to get me one step closer to where I need to be? I'm finding that's really helping me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the just looking at everything as little segments.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I can deal with this little box today. And if I only deal with this box today, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Because
And
this
it's been a
box opens
huge,
the
yeah,
next box, you know?
exactly. And this has been a huge asset to me because I'm starting to really realize like the roles that I play for myself that do not help me at all, which is definitely like avoidance. Anything that becomes really difficult or challenging, like I just want to avoid it. And now I'm just like, every time I catch myself being like, no, I'll put it off till tomorrow, I just do it, make the call, do the whatever I need to do. And then it's like, I get this huge influx of like satisfaction, I guess. You're like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I'm like, when did I become this person? I don't ever remember being this avoidant, but maybe I just was that unaware of myself a few
I
years
used to be a
ago.
go-getter, and it's like, you know what, it's got to be done, and it's got to be done this minute, and I'm going to get it done, and then I don't have to worry about it. And I'm
I used to
still
be
like
that too.
I'm like that to a degree, but now it's like, okay, but now I have to deal with the responses. You know, and I'm just like, like I've done this. Like it's in your court. Why do I have to, you know, it's like, why do I have to hold your hand? And it's
Exactly.
like, why? But then I'm thinking like, well, no, you still have to be involved. You know what I mean? Like I'm more annoyed by like the other people's part because I have no control over that.
Yeah.
You know?
I would
So,
say, and that's been the biggest challenge. Like everything in my life right now has been trying to like, don't get me wrong, I've been on a roller coaster, right? So I haven't been able to be like fully, I haven't been super on top of things necessarily, but then you meet people who are even more chaotic and they're not holding up their end of the bargain. And you're like, this is, like I said, 1,000 times harder than it has to be. And you're just like, can you just do it? Can you just get your part done so we can all move on? But no, people can't.
the only thing that makes me feel better is when I do my work, like my work, like my readings and healings and like, or I do a coaching session. It just like makes my fucking life. It always makes my day better.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that too. It's like it's like a nice distraction from my own life. I'm like, oh yeah, let's look at someone else's life and do this, and you get all carried away and excited about it, and then you're like, okay,
I kind of feel like a
take
cheater.
my mind off my own life right now.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a cheater because when I do healings for people, I basically get a healing at the same time. So I'm like, sweet, like
Yeah,
thanks for booking because I got a little help too,
That's true. I find like lately, especially I've been booking lots of like mirror people. Like, well, everyone's always a mirror, but I'm getting a lot of mirrors lately. So the messages they receive, I'm like, oh, yeah, that one's for me too. I'm like, okay, learning things.
Oh, I see why you booked with me.
Yes. Yeah.
I needed this too. Yeah,
yeah.
Totally. Jeez. So I suppose we should actually like get into what we're actually talking about today.
Instead of just talking, like trying to explain why our life sucks.
You know what though? For as shitty as things are, I'm like, still, you know what? Fuck, I'm living the dream right now. Like I can't even bitch, I just have to look outside and go, holy shit.
Yeah.
There's nature right outside my door and it's beautiful. And then I can hear my birds. Like, I can't.
Amazing.
Can't even.
That's true. There's a lot of stuff. I feel like there's been a lot of chaos in my personal life or our personal lives, but at the same time, like simultaneously slapped on top of that, everything's also getting better and better and better. It's just like, I really just feel, if I could just summarize it, we've said this 1,000 times, it's like the purge. When we've been purging for a long time, but I really feel like it's like any last, those skeletons in your closet that are really just need to be addressed are coming up, and they have to get our attention because, right, we're on this up spiral, like everything's getting better, things are manifesting, and it's like we can't take that shit. So we need, like, I don't know, I just need to be slapped in the face in order to know that I have to address it, right? So I have to be grateful too. My house is finally coming back together. I finally moved back into my office.
Woo-hoo. My my ego was being a little bitch for a while there, and then I realized I was like, oh, I just want to be taken care of, you know? And then I was like, oh, wait, that's an inner child wound. So I had to like spend extra time with my inner child and really like zone in and tune into what she was feeling and stuff. And then I was like, I see why I was acting like that now. Like, oh, okay.
God. I know so much, but I have to admit that like as things are coming to the surface and all the chaos, there's been a lot of clarity with it though. Every time something happens and I hit one of those ego moments, it's like been very obvious to me what needs to be done or what needs to be addressed. So there's a clarity that I haven't had before.
Yeah.
What to do with the clarity is subject number 2, but we're getting places that I haven't been before, that I haven't been able to see I knew they were there, but haven't been able to name it.
Yeah.
So things are happening. It's just all the things I don't want to deal with.
Yes. Understood. So today, kids, we are going to talk about energy. Yay. Makes me think of science class for some reason. Talked about energy.
I love science class.
I hated science classes, except for chemistry.
Oh, that's so funny. I love chemistry too. I used to go on my lunch break in high school. This is how cool I was, you guys. In high school, I would go practice chemistry at lunch, like for fun.
Oh no, I was cool and I didn't do that. Just kidding. I wasn't cool. I wasn't one of the cool ones. I just, didn't do that on my lunch break. But no, I didn't love science because I didn't really care to I was very like in the clouds. Like I coasted my way through school and still got on the honor roll because I didn't have to work hard. So I didn't. And it, now I kind of go back and be like, I wonder what would have happened if I'd have actually paid attention to that.
Yeah. I was good at school too, except for I was not that good at math, but I don't want to say it's because I'm technically bad at math, because I've worked enough places with the general public to know I'm actually a lot better at math than most people.
Oh no, I got mercy passed in math. I suck at math.
I don't know. If you can't explain to me why I'm doing something, I have a hard time engaging with it, and crunching these ridiculous equations that I know I'll never have to do in real life just felt like a giant waste of time. And I just couldn't connect to it.
I hear you.
So I did not. Yeah, I got mercy passed in my math C30, but at least I went that far. I didn't have to go that far.
I was like at 48 and they mercy passed me to a 50.
I got a 51.
Ooh, lucky you. Oh my God.
Oh, fuck.
That's awesome.
So yeah. Well, science. We're talking about energy today.
That's right.
I can just tell. I'm kind of spaced out today. I can just tell we're gonna have all of the tangents.
I know. And you know what? That's okay. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way.
Oh, yes. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
We're recording it on Valentine's Day. You'll hear it afterwards, but happy Valentine's Day. We are energetically sending it to you.
Yes. Take time to do all the self-care.
Yes. So,
all right. What are we talking about in the energy world?
We're going to talk about, how does it pertain to us in the spiritual world? Because one of the things I get asked a lot, how do you do distance healings? And I'm like, well, because we're all made up of just energy, I can harness your body's energy from anywhere because we're all made up of energy. We literally can pull it out of the ether. It's just what form is it in? I forget the quote. Fuck. Something along the lines of energy can never be created or destroyed. It just is, or it just changes, or I can't remember how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's very, very it's just a matter of pulling it in with intention. And if you start to, so let's break it down even further. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. So we all are energy, obviously. That's science 101. The table here, the computer, the microphone, us, our bodies, our hair, it's all just matter and energy. vibrating at different, I don't know, frequencies, or I don't know. I'm not a sciencey person. You guys just heard I didn't do well in science, but it's how we use it. So you can feel energy. All right. When you practice feeling it, so if you just were to take a minute right now, and let me know in the comments, you guys, if this would be a workshop you guys would be interested in, like how to feel energy. But if you were to take a minute and just close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. And while you're there, I want you to hold your hands out in front of you with your eyes still closed. And I want you to imagine in your right palm a baseball. Now, instantly, I can feel exactly what the baseball feels like. It's heavy, it's round, it sits more heavy in the center of the palm versus around it. It's got the rough texture of the stitching and the smooth texture of the ball itself. And I'm sure most of you can feel that right now. The ball isn't there, but you feel the ball's energy because you have called it to you. So energetically, that ball is in your hand. Okay. Now, this is what I teach when I teach my Reiki classes, is how to like harness that. Okay, great. I know, great. I can feel it. Woo, big fucking deal. But how do we, like, what do we do with it? Right? And you can do a fuck ton of things with this. Okay. Now, when you hear people say they call their energy back, this is one of the most important things that we can do when we're talking about harnessing energy, is we don't realize how much of our own energy we give to other people on a daily basis. Any sort of interaction, if you're not paying attention, you're giving your energy and you're receiving their energy, which is why, you know, you could be having the best day and then you randomly walk by someone on the street and you just feel like shitty because you've taken on their energy because they were having a bad day. Empaths are very, very prone to this, but anybody can do this. Okay. So one of the things, and the most important thing is what I was saying, is you can call your energy back to you, right? So any little tendrils you've sent out throughout the day, or maybe, you know, you just went into a store and feel like, ugh, sick. You can ask your energy to come back to you, to make you feel more energized, make you feel more full. I don't know if you do that, Kayla, on a daily basis. I started to, because I kind of forget about it.
Yeah, I forget about it. So I actually did a session with Kirsten. I don't know, Kirsten, if you're listening, but what's up? And she's like, Kirsten. Yeah, in your crown chakra, you just have all these like these things. They just sit there in your crown and it gives you like neck tension. And I was like, oh, as soon as she said that, I got this visual of everyone's Akashic record in the form of a book that I didn't put back on the shelf, that I left open and didn't put it away. And I was like, oh, fuck. So ever since then, I've been being way more intentional about like, after I leave someone's energy, I put it back, I close it out, I leave, call my own energy home. Mm-hmm. And I actually do shower usually every evening. And just like the water is symbolic of just being like, wash that shit away. So I do try, but damn, you got to be mindful and never forget, because as soon as I get like, yeah, I don't want to say too cocky, but just like it's working. So you're like, oh yeah, I'm good. And then you stop doing the practice and you get your ass handed to you and you're like, well, damn it.
That's on me. That's on me. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm really good when I cut, like when I work on people, I can feel their energy, and I'm always good about separating myself from them at the end, but just daily shit. I want you to think about even interacting with your spouse or your partner or your friends. I mean, when you think about, this is kind of a weird tangent to go on, but we're doing tangents today. But think about when you're sexually active with another person, like that person's energy is literally entering you physically mentally and spiritually. So it's kind of like we don't think about it on those terms. But that's literally foreign energy entering your system. So it's and that, not that we're saying that this is a horrible thing or whatever, because on some level that can be very, very beautiful, right? However, if it sits there and turns stagnant, then what? So that's just something that I want you to be mindful of, is like cleansing that away. And when you're physical with someone, even if it's a friend, giving them a hug that you haven't seen, especially in these times when we haven't been hugging people for a couple of years, and you start to do that, you'll take on a lot, because there's been a lot of just outside energy that's been put on us and piling up and piling up and piling up, right? So this is why it's so important to cleanse your energy. So if we're talking about cleansing, we can do this in many, many different ways. Man, I'm just going on tangents, but I'm channeling, so we're just going to go with it. Of course, you can do things through sprays, like smudge sprays, things like that. Palo Santo is a great one I like to use. Just like smudging your body, right? I like Palo Santo because it does cleanse, but it also, I feel like it kind of charges up at the same time. Whereas if I use something like sage, which, like, I like to use my prairie sage that I get from the ditches back home. You burn that and use it on you. But I feel like that doesn't, like, it takes everything out, but it doesn't really give you anything at the same time. Does that make sense? It's like, yeah, you're like an empty fucking vessel. But, you know, you kind of want that nice, like, calming balance afterwards, which again, you can do with maybe some Palo Santo, you could dab some essential oils on yourself. You can just call your energy back to you. There's many different ways. But the point is that you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like intention is the most powerful thing. Like, honest to God, there's no like, I got to write this down and figure it out. Like, set that intention and do like the ritual, and you can just make it up. It's like half the things I do, I'm just like, this feels right. The intention is set. The action is set. It's done. And like, yeah. And something else with energy, I wanted to just mention it as well. So the best, when you're talking about like how to call in people's energy, like how come you can do things via distance? I get this question all the time. And the best way I've ever described it, and it's so weird that we're talking about this today, because I had this conversation with myself in the shower like 2 days ago.
I love it.
So it's actually dimensional. So each dimension has a different resonance. And the third dimension is very like heavy and dense. It's very physical. It's what we look at and see, what we touch, what we feel. The fourth dimension is more like where that intention sits. You know, it's actually also time travel. We can go back into the past and reminisce. We can project into the future. And then the fifth dimension is the place of energy. And it's where everyone's soul is like a gas, and it's just everywhere. So there's no limits or boundaries. Just because Randy's in Mexico and I'm in Canada, it doesn't mean that like we can't connect. It doesn't mean that her soul is that far away. Her soul is right here in this room right now because we're connecting. So when I go to the fifth dimension, that's where it's where every energy worker is going to pull in people's like awareness and just ask it to come into the room. So when I do that, I'm looking for, Randy, this is her birthday. This is where she was born. Is this the right soul? Do I have the right person? Yep. Okay, let's continue on, because there's no boundaries in dimensions beyond the third. They're all very expansive and almost like a gas. So
yeah, it's just everywhere all the time.
Yes.
Just
so people have, and you have like a calling card, because there's no energy that will resonate to the exact frequency that you hold. So we call in your exact resonance, and that's who we're working with. And for the time being, there you are. And like the dimensions often have this perception that they're stacked on top of each other. 3Ds down here, 4Ds up here, 5Ds up there. They're actually like all on top of each other. So we move in and out of them all the time. It's just we can't perceive them with our eyes, only with our our energy, the feelings that Randy talks about with the ball, So it's like 3D is actually the illusion. What you think is real and tangible is actually the illusion. So it's like, just because we can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there. How come when you're walking in a store, you can feel someone's eyes staring at you and you turn around and you look at them? Like, there's all sorts of things that we feel that we can't measure. So it's important just to be mindful of that. I get that question so often. People are like, it's bogus. You can't do that. And I'm like, well, how come I can then? Like, I can get right down into the nitty gritty. Like, when you were 28, this happened to you. Like, how could I get that if you can't really just like tap in like that? It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I described it as fiber optic cables. Like, everybody's part of the big cable, but then inside there's all these little fiber optic fibers that all make up the big world, right? But it's all the individual little souls. And you go, okay, I need this tiny little fiber right here. And that's the one I'm working on. It's the same.
I've heard it described as a tapestry.
Yeah.
So like the breathing, moving tapestry, and every cord is a soul. So all you have to do is just be like, oh, here's the one.
Yeah. Oh, this is the little string we're working on today.
But like, it's so cool to think of it like the fiber optics and the tapestry, because it's like, you can see how literally we're all woven together.
Yeah.
Every single one of us is connected to every single other one of us.
Yeah. And whether we realize it or not, you're all working together towards the same goal, which I love.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Oh, now I feel so light and airy and like, oh.
Isn't that so pretty?
Yeah.
It really just like takes the heaviness off. And lately, like every time I've been bumping into somebody who's just fucking pissing me off, like the people that I can't get to answer calls or move forward with things, I'm just like, you're brought into my life for a reason, and I have to just respect you. I don't appreciate what you're putting me through right now, but I fucking respect you. And just please, let's teach me the lesson and let's move on. Like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Like, what are you teaching me right now? What have I learned? Okay, I've learned this. Okay. Thank you for teaching me this. I don't particularly care for how you're doing it, but I appreciate the lesson. So thank you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
definitely this year has been a year. Like, it's not that I've ever considered myself separate, but I've actually taken the time to like realize how connected we are to everyone. And it's just like, oh, wow, what a beautiful maze of souls we are.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy being down here in Mexico. Like, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I've made really serendipitous connections with people down here. Like, it's crazy. Very like-minded people, very spiritual people. Like, it's a very spiritual place,
I can't wait.
Oh my God. It's just like, yeah, I've met some really beautiful souls, and, we chat, and it's like, oh my God, but I would never have met you. Probably not online. We run in different, even online circles or whatever. But like, here we both come to a foreign place from like other places. Some are even from Canada, and it's like, how are we all here together, like-minded? Do you know what I mean? So it's been pretty cool.
I love that. And I keep it's a really magical time. Every time I pull cards these days, I get like the Page of Cups, I think, which in the deck that I have is like when pigs fly. Like, this is when nothing makes sense and everything's crazy and ridiculous. And like, oh, it's helped me so much. It's beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm having like the ups and downs right now with shit that I don't want to deal with. But like, at the same time, there's like this deep level of peace that exists, because I know everything that's happening to me is serendipitous right now. Every person I meet, every problem I have, I'm like, all of this is driving me home to the greater good. Like, and that was my mantra this year. My mantra was like, come what may and let it be at my highest good. I am sick of resisting and sick of trying to control. Like, I can't. It just needs to come. I need to unravel, and we need to get going, because don't want to fight it anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really getting what I asked for. Makes me regret my mantra just a tiny bit, but I know it's early in the year. By June, we'll be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be better.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like there's lots of tests right now, but it's going to be so fucking beautiful because energetically, if I, like you say, we kind of tap into that, that future, right? In that like 4D realm, 5D realm. And I'm like, let me feel how I'm going to feel or how the collective feels in 3 months, in 6 months, or blah, blah, blah. And it's crazy how beautiful and calm. It's this weird, actually, okay. So in about 3 months, it's still a bit chaotic. But like that after summer, kind of August, September-ish, it starts to kind of like, it's like an inner calm. The energy feels very internal, very stable, very soft, even though it feels like the outside world is kind of like, when a storm rolls in and it's like that build and that like where the wind picks up and you're like, oh shit's gonna go down. But like inside you're like, oh, I love it when it's like this. Oh, it feels so good. It's that kind of energy.
And I can already see that sort of playing out right now because like it's really it's really, I feel like timelines are just, my spirit guides won't give me long-term projections because they very much show me that like everything will be what you make it and what you focus on. And I can see that already because the world is kind of stormy right now. But when you really like hone in and get into like the nitty-gritty of it, like watching the the world kind of uprise for freedom and things like that. It's just like, to me, I'm just like, God, that's so beautiful. And you're kind of like, it's stormy, but it's also so beautiful. Like I actually had a personal friend who was in Ottawa, just went to go check it out and sent me pictures and stuff. And they were just kind of going for the sake of going. And they're like, honestly, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever been a part of. I literally took a step back and started crying because it's like dancing and jokes and people are so uplifting and it's so inclusive. Like, and they're just like, it's so beautiful. So like, it's happening. It just depends how you like look at it and what's going on inside of you that mirrors. Because like when I felt really stormy, like inside of myself, the world suddenly felt very stormy. And then I've been sort of working on calming those things. And now the world seems a little more calm. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Yeah. There's like a build going on.
Yes. Oh yeah.
An energetic build, which I'm very excited to see where it goes.
We just got our freedom back today, actually.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. I'm going out for dinner.
Good for you. On Valentine's. How cute. Yeah. I am not. I'm staying in.
Oh, that's fun though.
That's okay. I'm actually like really looking forward to just chilling at home with my pups and my hubby.
Well, you've been free since you got to Mexico, so good for you. I mean, and it's not that it's really a big deal. And a part of me is like, do I really want to go back to these places that didn't let me in? But then I'm like, I couldn't hold a grudge if I wanted to. So I'm going.
There you go. I love it. Yeah. Where are you going? I think I already know.
OJ's.
I knew it.
I know. Where else is there?
Yeah.
In this town. So that'll be good.
Nice.
And then my sister's going to be in town this weekend, so we get to go for lunch and not have to worry about all the other steps that are required. So that'll be nice.
Hi, Alyssa.
What's up, sis?
What's up? What's up? Man, this is like the podcast of shout outs.
Yeah, really. Kristen, Alyssa.
Yeah. It's all good. Anyway, I feel like this is a topic that we're just tangenting on, but really it's all about practice and remembering. I think that yes, we are all connected. We are literally threads of the same energy at different frequencies, working together towards the same goal, even though it does not feel like it a lot of the time.
Yeah. And that's something like, that's been so clear to me. Even your fucking worst enemy is probably working in your highest good and you don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single person that plays even the most minute role in your life is someone that is there intentionally, probably again out of love and for your highest good. And it's sometimes really hard to admit that. Like, got into a lovely argument with someone the other day, and I was just like, I couldn't even say it because I'd already learned the lesson. But I was like, fuck, I hate that guy. Like, I hate that guy. And then a part of me was like, I'm sure somewhere, somehow we know each other more than we think we do. And we scheduled this encounter and, like, here we are. And then I was like, what do I have to learn from this person right now? And it like really changes the game because once you think about it, you're just like, fuck, yeah, I learned a lot actually. Unfortunately, I learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. This whole, like this has been quite the learning curve the whole past, 2 years? Almost 3? There's been a lot of fast learning, but yet at the same time, how do I put it? I feel like, God, I can't even put it into words. It's like there's been chaos and division, but yet I've never been so cognizant of how much we are all connected.
Same. That is it's like I've read it on paper. I knew that we were a tapestry. I've read that in Dolores Cannon books many times, but only very recently, the last like 6 months, I would say for me, probably longer, but not. So I've been feeling it longer than that, but it's only just clicked and like snapped into place from a deep level of understanding in the last like 6 months. And fuck, it's nice when you get there. And I mean, just because like, let's say you have someone, you're like, I hate them, we disagree on everything. Does that mean I have to like, keep them in my world? Absolutely not. You're there for the lesson and then you can move on. I have been deleting people off Facebook like you wouldn't believe because I just don't need their toxic negativity. Am I going to like hate them forever because of it? No, I just don't want to look at it. It ruins my day.
Yeah. And that's just it. You don't have to live in other people's energies.
Exactly.
Which I find we have been.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're not, again, now this is going on another tangent. Because we're not taught things are like kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, hidden from us from a young age. Like we're not taught about the spiritual body, the etheric body, right? So we don't know enough to understand what's happening with our own energy, how to recognize our energy versus somebody else's, what's external, what's internal, how do we, take what somebody else's is and get rid of it and just have our own. So I think a big part of it is we have taken on so much throughout our lives. And like, for instance, here's a good example. My mom is an empath. Huge. Really takes on other people's stuff. She was a hairdresser for 30 years, right? And you tell your hairdresser stuff, right? You do. So she ended up with very severe knee and back problems. Why? Because but like on paper, she's super healthy and like shouldn't have these issues. Okay. Like super, like, numbers are good, like just on paper, should be healthy as fuck. But years of taking on other people's energy literally almost crippled her.
Oh.
And because we're not taught about that etheric level and the energetic level, nobody knows the importance of cleansing that. And literally can make you ill. And physically, sore or hurt you, It's crazy.
Oh, that just makes me think of like my neck and shoulders. Like I just have so much tension there all the time. And I know it's because I take on the expectations or timelines or whatever of other people. And I just carry that around like a backpack I'm super proud of. And I need to get rid of it. I'm learning after like the last weekend and all this shit that kind of went down in my life. I'm just like, yeah, I don't give a shit anymore. Like I do, but not to the point where I'm going to break my back anymore because I'm just like tired and it hurts, you know?
This is your energetic hygiene, kids.
Yes.
Okay? It's very important. It's just your energetic health should be just as much a priority as your mental and physical health because they all work together.
They're super connected. And like most, from my understanding in the Akashic Records, and this is just something that's been said to me, but it's probably more dynamic than that. But like an illness or a pain or a problem doesn't manifest physically until you've ticked all the boxes. Like you have not dealt with it mentally. You have not dealt with it emotionally. You have not done the energy work for the energy body. And then it manifests physically. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like we see people who have crazy things like, I don't know, let's just say like kidney failure or something like that. And it's like, trust me, their kidneys aren't just failing for the sake of it. Like there's several things that have never been addressed that have created this perfect storm that is now destroying the physical body. The physical body's tough. It's gonna stand strong as long as it can until you consistently don't deal with those other parts of yourself. And then your body's gonna get your attention and be like, something's wrong here. But again, we haven't been taught. Everything is just not correct. Everything we've ever been taught is so compartmentalized that we've forgotten what it means when our kidney begins to fail. What is that connected to in the energy meridians? What does that mean so that we can address those root issues? Oh, and it's such a shame.
You know what's funny is I've noticed, I don't know, and this is just my own observations. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just spitballing here, just something that I've noticed. There has been an influx of sacral chakra blocks, not just in women, but men, but specifically women. And I find problems with the reproductive systems, you know, whether it be pain or, you know, infertility and things like that. And what I've gleaned from that, or what the guides have told me, is a large part of that was the death of the divine feminine.
I believe that.
Right. And so because we've been like so masculine, energy driven, you know, ambition, and you got to work and you got to do this and you got to, and we've kind of forgotten about the softness and the, you know, the creativity and the flow that it's literally manifesting in the chakra, the sacral chakra.
I believe that. You know what else is interesting that I recently picked up about infertility? So without taking everyone down a really deep rabbit hole, when we were like when our bodies were created, they had these certain types of DNA, and throughout the corruption that's taken place over humanity's existence, the DNA is beginning to become warped through the bad food, you know, the Wi-Fi signals, things like that, phone signals, and just the general erosion of our moral character.
Yes.
So our DNA has become very warped, and the people that created the human body or created this experiment or created this energy, this place to experience energy, the creator beings or gods or whatever you want to call them, are coming to clean house. So they will not allow people to give birth anymore. Like it's not just a one size fits all, but women and men who do not have clean enough DNA will not be able to produce children in the near future, which is also why there's an uprising in fertility issues, because and what they mean by that is you can clean and heal your own DNA, but you got to do that spiritual, that energetic hygiene and work with the mental, emotional, and energy body to get that stuff cleared. And then you can get yourself ready to have children if that's something you desire. But if you're struggling with infertility and you're strictly looking at it from like a body perspective,
you're missing a big piece of the puzzle,
because they're not going to continue to let and I get it. That was the hard work for them or whoever did this crafty job on the body, not the soul, the body. whoever did that crafty job put a lot of work into this and it's gotten out of control. And they're just like, no, fuck it. You guys had your chance and you guys aren't doing it. Do the spiritual hygiene, do the work, and then you can continue to carry out your line. But until you figure that out, no way, no how.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's going to become, it's already started, but it's going to become ever prevalent after or this year and subsequently. Because 2022 is like the marker year where they kind of start to do the cleanup, which ironically, and when they mean cleanup, it's like you're going to get urged to clean your DNA, eat better, turn off the TV, all that stuff that kind of corrupts DNA. We've seen that already happening.
Yeah. And the
right?
energetic hygiene, there's been an influx in like energy cleansings and, you know, people wanting to learn that in like men and women, you know, like that's really becoming more prevalent because people are, I think, are feeling it again on that energetic level of, I need this,
Yes.
you know, which is good. It's good because it's finally starting to be that energetic side, that spiritual side, the astral realms, whatever you want to call it. People are starting to see how important it is in the mind, body, spirit pyramid, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just mind and body. That spiritual side, that energetic side is like, so they show me like, you know, if you were to picture a triangle, it's like the top is the mental, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bottom left would be the physical. But what's the other grounding factor of that triangle? It's the spiritual side, the astral realm, the energetic. You need the body and the astral body to ground you, to keep you stable. And then your mind connects them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're finally seeing mind, body, spirit. And like, we've heard that before. Oh yeah, mind, body, spirit, voodoo, woo, woo, woo. But yet now people are starting to understand it. It's starting to come back together and make that trine.
Yeah, exactly. And then people that decide not to start working on the triangle and start cleaning up their DNA, cleaning up their spiritual hygiene or energetic hygiene or whatever, are probably going to start to disappear or like get sick or leave. And it's not that they're being killed, they're choosing to exit or die or disappear because they're like, ah, fuck it, I can't get this shit together on time and I don't really want to, so I'm out of here. So we've also seen that kind of begin as well. People just exiting stage left. They're like, I'm never going to get this cleaned up in time to make the leap that's required. So see ya.
Well, let's start fresh. See you next time.
Pretty much.
Interesting.
I know, it's such a weird time. 2022 is going to be
an
weird.
interesting year.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty pumped about it.
Me too.
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like we went on like a million and one tangents. What's that?
I said things are good. It's like I said, it's like everything keeps on getting better, but it's just like the shit that can't rise with you bubbles up to the surface and all the things I never wanted to address.
Yes. But now it's like we're getting thrown into it. And you kind of talk about that DNA thing. This kind of is just coming in. We talk about like how everyone's really feeling the tests lately. And they're like, why is this getting thrown in my fucking face again? I feel like it's like you say, I don't know, the creators or whatever word you want to use, way of saying, look, this is what you're missing. Ding, ding, ding. Like red flashing lights. Hey, look at this. Look at this. This is what you need to look at. Yeah. And, you know, it's what we do with that information, I guess.
Exactly. And, you know, I was looking back because at the beginning of 2021 or 2022, I wrote down my manifestations, like what I wanted to create. And when I looked back on them, I'm starting to realize the tests or the little like ding, ding, dings I've been getting have been things that are stopping me from being able to have that manifestation. So it's really important that we look at what we're asked. Like, it's all intertwined. And I think people forget that, like, I'm doing all these good, awesome things, but all these shitty things are happening to me right now. It's like the shitty things are happening to you to get you closer to your manifestation. They are one and the same. Because one of the things I had written down, and it's just the one example, I was like, I want to just be myself all the time. I don't want to have to change or tweak who I am for certain scenarios to make other people more comfortable, because I have this tendency to make people really uncomfortable all the time because nobody wants to look at themselves, and I'm surrounded by people in delusion. So I have to constantly, like, I don't know how to just small talk. Like, it's not a thing I can do anymore. So I was like, I just want to be myself all the time and not give a fuck. Well, some of the tests that I've had have been to like look at certain factors, like, you know, why do you feel like who you are is a burden, and why do you feel, you know, like you want to avoid that topic, or why are you so critical of yourself? So I'm literally getting smacked in the face with some of these things, and I'm just like, fuck. But it's all part of that evolution to get to that place, because you can't just, you know, it's like you have to do the work, right? You can't just get to where you're going without doing that inner work. And I would love to skip it if I could, but I can't. So here I am.
Bypassing 101, please.
Fuck, I know. But it's like, we talked about it a couple episodes ago. I can't remember what it was. Like, I know that I'm really good at like seeing the big picture and like solving the puzzle and putting pieces together and seeing who's connected to who and why. But then when I have to hone in and like do those, like someone said to me, like, get into the weeds and sit in your mud puddle and like sift through it, I don't even know how to do that.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I know. And then I think that's funny because I feel like it's not that you can't see the big picture. I think you can too. But your specialty is the mud puddle. And mine's like the bird's eye view, or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, you cannot have one without the other. You fucking gotta navigate both of those bitches.
Yeah. As I'm like, look, sit in the mud puddle. Look what you can make with the mud. Look what you can build with the mud. It's so cool.
Yeah, I need to get into the mud.
Yeah. You got to get down and dirty, but it'll be good.
It will be. I think I'm finally ready to do it.
Whoop, whoop. Fuck yeah.
I was just going to take a drink of my microphone. That's not my coffee cup.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Well, anyways, guys, I don't know if we got anything overly straightforward across to you, but things that hopefully someone needed to hear somewhere out there.
Oh, clearly the collective got what they needed, but Jesus Christ, that felt kind of very tangenty today.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's
all right. It's a day for it, I guess.
It is. All right, chillins, thanks for joining us this week. Join us next week, and all the fun things we're going to discuss whenever we decide what it is that we're going to discuss.
Love it.
Thanks for being here.
Guys.
Bye.